You know, for the first time in more than half a century, we are finally leaving Earth's orbit and heading back out to the moon. So today, we're going to break down Artemis II, a mission that's so much more than just a test flight. It's really the first step in our next great adventure into the cosmos.
I mean, think about it. It has been over 50 years since the last human boot prints were left in the lunar dust. The era of Apollo feels like ancient history to some, but right now, a brand new chapter is about to be written. Welcome to the Artemis generation.
The Artemis II mission is a huge deal. It's the first time since all the way back in 1972 with Apollo 17 that a crew is going to travel beyond the relative safety of low Earth orbit and actually journey out towards the moon. This is not just a replay of the past, it's a massive leap forward.
Now, Artemis II is building directly on the success of its uncrewed test flight, Artemis I. You can think of Artemis I as the full dress rehearsal. It sent the spacecraft on the whole trip, completely empty, just to prove the ship could survive the harsh environment of deep space. Now, it's time to add the most important part, the crew.
So what kind of beast does it take to actually push humanity back to the moon? Well, the answer is NASA's Space Launch System, or SLS. And to put it simply, it is the most powerful rocket ever built. Period.
At liftoff, the SLS unleashes an absolutely mind-boggling 8.8 million pounds of thrust. That is a kind of raw, brute force you need to break free from Earth's gravity and start the long journey to the moon with 4 astronauts on board. And to put that number into perspective for you, the SLS generates a full 15% more thrust than the legendary Saturn V rocket, the one that took the Apollo astronauts. This new rocket is truly in a league of its own. And its incredible power is matched by its sheer size. This first version, called Block 1, stands 322 feet tall. That is taller than the Statue of Liberty, from her feet all the way to the tip of her torch. It's just a monster.
So, how does this colossal machine actually get the job done? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the key pieces that make this incredible journey a reality.
It's a true engineering masterpiece. You've got that massive orange core stage, which is basically the rocket's backbone and its main fuel tank. For that initial liftoff punch, you have 2 solid rocket boosters strapped to the sides. They provide more than 75% of the thrust. Then at the bottom, you have 4 upgraded RS-25 engines. These are veterans from the Space Shuttle program, so they're proven and reliable. And riding way up at the very top is the Orion spacecraft, which is going to be the crew's home for their 10-day trip.
Okay, we've geeked out on the hardware, which is awesome. But let's be real, the most important part of this mission isn't the rocket. It's the 4 incredible humans who are about to strap themselves inside and make history.
So let's meet them. This is the crew of Artemis II. You've got Commander Reid Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, and mission specialists Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen. These are the pioneers who will become the very first people to actually fly inside the Orion capsule, testing out every system for all the astronauts who will follow them.
And this crew is making history in more ways than one. Victor Glover is set to become the first person of color to ever fly beyond low Earth orbit. Christina Koch will be the first woman, and Jeremy Hansen from the Canadian Space Agency will be the first non-American to do it. This mission really shows that this isn't just about one country. It's about a new era of exploration for all of humanity.
So what exactly is this crew going to be doing up there? Well, their mission is about a 10-day flight test from start to finish. Let's trace their incredible path from Earth, looping around the moon, and all the way back home. It all kicks off with a massive, thundering launch from Kennedy Space Center. Once they get into orbit, they'll do some system checks, and then they'll hit the gas. A powerful engine burn called the translunar injection will accelerate them to over 24,000 miles per hour. Now, they won't actually land. Instead, they'll perform a lunar flyby, using the moon's gravity to whip them around the far side and slingshot them right back towards Earth, eventually splashing down in the Pacific Ocean. Every single second of this flight is a test of Orion's life support, its communications, and its navigation. But one of the most dangerous and most critical tests comes at the very end: re-entry. The Orion capsule is going to slam into Earth's atmosphere at nearly 25,000 miles an hour. That generates temperatures half as hot as the surface of the sun. It is the ultimate test for its advanced heat shield, to prove it can bring our astronauts home safely from deep space.
As amazing as this whole 10-day flight is, it's really serving a much bigger purpose. Artemis II isn't the final destination. It's a critical stepping stone in humanity's much bigger, much more ambitious future out there in the cosmos.
So here's the bottom line. The success of Artemis II is what makes the next giant leap possible, and that is Artemis III. That is the mission that will finally put human boots back on the lunar surface and will land the first woman and the first person of color on the moon. This test flight is the final dress rehearsal for that historic return.
And the plan doesn't stop at the moon, not even close. The SLS rocket is specifically designed to be evolvable. That means future versions, like Block 1B and Block 2, are going to be even more powerful. They'll be able to carry the huge pieces of cargo and the habitats we need to build a permanent presence on the moon and eventually to launch the very first human missions to Mars.
So Artemis II proves we can fly there. Artemis III will prove we can land there again. This whole program is reopening the frontier of deep space, and not just for one country but for everyone. It really just leaves one question, right? What comes next?